Yeah, hello and welcome back to ConWorxx III, Spielworxx, small, friendly and cozy online convention. My name is Uli Blennemann and I have a wonderful guest here. It's Ella of Ella Loves Board Games. Welcome Ella, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, well, it's fine, it's fine. Early morning, but for you, because you're in Australia, what is the local time, Ella?
It's 6:01 p.m.
So, yeah, well, as an optimist, you would say, yeah, well, I had already a wonderful day. As a pessimist, I would say, well, you made it through the day, so you're
Yes,
lucky.
I did.
You made it through the day. And good seeing you, Hans, in the chat, and good seeing you, Chris. And Chris is also saying hello, Ella. And of course, there's
Hi.
Karthik. Ella, you know Karthik from
Yes,
Düsseldorf,
hi
and he's saying
Karthik,
hi,
I miss
Ella.
you.
Yeah, you have to come to Europe, although we will talk about this in a couple of
Mm.
minutes. And for everybody, of course, if you have questions for Ella, don't ask me questions. My answers will be boring. If you have questions, please put them in the chat window. But to start, Ella, for people who do not know you, these brutes, so who is Ella? Who's Ella the person?
Well, I'm a content creator, so I make videos for myself, for my channel, Ella Loves Board Games, but I also work for the Dice Tower. So I do previews when publishers have Kickstarters and they want a cool video about their game, I do it. But also mostly I've been studying art, so I'm a art student this year.
Yeah, man, and of course, Ella, we met first because of gaming. When you traveled
Yes.
to Europe, of course, I can confirm Ella's doing great videos, great video reviews, previews, and Spielworxx has used Ella's wonderful services. So I can only recommend checking this out. Also, as a different publisher, please do so. And but
Thank
please
you
tell
so
us
much.
more about your art studies, about drawing, and why you're doing this now.
Yeah, it's a mix of different things. Well, I went into content creation because I like the creativity of it. But I guess it's a mix of COVID also, like doing after realizing your mortality. This is a bit pessimistic now, but realizing that you have such a short time on Earth, I guess. I was like, I've always wanted to do art, so maybe this is the year that I do it. Like, and then I thought, what's stopping me from doing it? Nothing really. I guess money. I like money because I can't work now, so I'm like a poor art student. I'm a starving artist, Uli. So all the projects, please go. But yeah, I think I'm doing art because I just I reach my not I reach my limit, but I want to pursue something more, a challenge and
Mhm.
something creative. So that's what I've been doing.
So something new. So I can
Mm.
totally understand. Because what I love in gaming is when there is a new game project coming up, so that
Yes.
you do something else, you see another author with new ideas. So I totally get this, and I see your works at Twitter when you post something, and it's really wonderful what you're doing. So highly recommend
I'm
it
a
to check it out.
Yeah. I'm actually a bit afraid showing it because I'm still learning. It's not like perfect art. So I'm just do it just so that because I'm very insecure, not insecure, but you know how when you're starting something and you're not very confident about it. I think that putting it out there makes it more like, oh, this is just something normal that I do. You don't have to be perfect. I just put it out there. So hopefully people don't hate it because they're like, what is this? She was posting about board games. Now it's like, what is this art?
Yeah, but you see, in 99, first I can understand that as soon
Mm,
as you put something out or to the public, somebody will hit you. It's simply how
yeah.
people are. So it's not a nice reaction always. I think it's also that 99% of people cannot really, and I can't for sure, cannot really value how much work is involved in this. But people still, they will rate creative
Yeah.
work that it's there. Although people have no clue what it is about or how long it took, but they are still saying, I like it, or don't like it. It's what
I
it
guess
is.
do you feel the same sometimes when you publish a game and people are like, ew, or
Yeah.
like it's either way, it's like it's the same feeling, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's also this. If you are very insecure, then it's can ruin your day. And
Yeah.
I'm not looking into all the forums. I'm not looking in a German gaming forum because it
That's
would
very
just
healthy.
kill me. Because critique is necessary. It's important. It's very important even, but not from everybody. This sounds very snobbish, but it is what it is. And if as soon as it comes to your heart, then it's difficult for everything. It will draw you down. And hello, Marcus, by the way, in the chat. Good seeing you. And Karstik actually has a wonderful question for you. When would we see a board game with Ella's art? So, are you ready to do board game art, Ella?
Oh, I'm not there yet. Maybe in 2 years. Give me 2 years. When I feel like I'm there, you'll find out. Because I'll be in your faces on Twitter.
So I will write this down. 2024. Ask Ella for board gaming art. So I wrote this down. It's out. It's in public.
Yeah. So I should be good by 2 years. Okay.
No, probably even earlier. But would this be something you are interested in, or are you saying, well, I've seen so many board games. I own so many board games. I don't want to go into this field at all. Is this something that interests you?
I actually had a purge, connected to that, from 300 games, I've gone down to, I think, 75.
Wow.
I think I'm purging a lot of things in my life, taking out things that I don't feel contribute to my well-being. Like, I don't understand why I have 300 games I wasn't playing. Like, that's weird. So I think that, you get, when you're new, you get swept up in the thing.
Yeah.
So I guess with the art, I just want to enjoy it without thinking about the commercial value of it. It's the same with when I got into content creation. It was just a hobby, and then it became commercial. And so along the way, you kind of lost the love. Not that I lost love of gaming. I just want to go back to that experience when I was just playing for playing's sake. Not when I'm playing, I'm like, oh, I should make content out of this.
Yeah.
Take a pic. Everybody stop. Take a picture. Things like that. So I want to go back to why I was gaming. And then so it's the same with my art. I just want to enjoy it, be good at it without thinking, am I going to make money out of this? Not that that's not important, because I care about money, but in terms of your passion, it shouldn't be tainted with how am I going to make money out of this, which I think is the problem with the world.
Yeah,
everything is about money.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I totally agree, but I can understand your sentiments here, and and if you always are 24 hours in the same field, so in gaming, even if it's art in gaming, it's after a while it doesn't feel well. So I can only suggest to people, even if gaming is their hobby number one, and maybe their hobby number one and two, to try something else in addition. It is good, and it will help you with your gaming hobby as well. So it is helpful to do something else from time to time, at least. But Ella, how's life right now in Australia? Because we in Germany, Australia is in the news, but not too much, and especially in recent times with other events. But how's life in Australia?
Oh, good events. It's been good. Like, we've opened up from last time we talked. This is our tradition every year. People who don't know, even before that, Uli and I would have breakfast at Essen. So this is a tradition now that I always see him during Essen time, their breakfast. But so last year we were, sort of in lockdown, but now everything is open. In 2 weeks' time, you don't even have to isolate when you're positive, which is I'm still processing that with my friends. And next week we have our biggest convention. PAX Australia is coming. I am going. I don't know on the day how I feel with like a million, like thousands of people, and some of them won't be masked or not. Because I haven't been to a big convention yet.
Mm.
Unlike Stella. Stella's also from Australia. She's going to Essen, so please say hi to her from
Yeah.
Maple University. But yeah, everything is normal. Like whatever that means now with COVID. Yeah.
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 And
And
in,
I've been, I think it's because going to school, I've been like introduced to the world a little bit. So yeah, I go to school 3 times a week, and then next year it'll be 4 times a week. So yeah.
mm, yeah, what is interesting but from observation is from several thousand kilometers away, of course, is that Australia had such a hard lockdown. So way harder than most parts and way harder than in Germany. We hear people complained about the lockdown, but it was basically not a lockdown. You could go outside. But if I'm not,
Oh, really?
but if I remember correctly, at certain times you adjust the radius of a couple of miles where you could go out, and only if you had an animal or a pet or something like this. So
Yeah. It was 5 kilometers from your house, and you can only go out like for important things, grocery. If you had to go to work and you were allowed, you had a letter. And then also like for walking, for exercise, but only certain hours. Yeah, now it's like we can be normal. Yeah, I still wear my mask though, because yeah, I don't want long COVID because that's the nightmare for me. Like, oh,
yeah,
time is too short.
yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, but it's interesting that Australia went from one
Yeah.
pretty extreme is the wrong word, wrong term, from one pretty extreme position to now different extreme position. And I'm actually glad that at Spiel Essen masks are still required, and let's see. And
No, I'm happy about that. Yeah, in fact, it's not. The
yeah.
Bayer boob says
Yeah,
safe by
this is that brute Ode. So that is Ode, who will be my guest later. But Hans is
okay.
yeah, Bayer is his favorite soccer team. He's the football for non-Americans, of course. And he's the only fan in Germany of Bayer Leverkusen. It's a sad story. And they lost yesterday 0-4 again, so it's a sad story. So we all have to be pat him on the shoulder. We had a free day yesterday.
We had a free day yesterday.
Yeah, they lost again. But
That's it.
Hans is asking a great question here. Ella, could you please tell us something about the board gaming community in Australia?
Okay. Well, compared to the of course, compared to Germany or the United States, the board gaming community is not as huge yet, but it's growing like exponentially. When I worked at a distribution company, we had like a 200% growth, 300% growth during COVID. I think one of not that COVID is a positive thing, but because people were indoors, and they were all buying puzzles and board games. A lot of people were introduced to it. Because what can you do at home?
Yeah.
Well, video gaming is like a solitary thing, but with the family, you can board game. So it is growing and growing. Not as big though, because we're a bit tinier than other countries. Yeah. Also, we're very outdoorsy, so it's against sort of like the culture in a way, because we're very sports minded and everybody's outdoors, especially now because it's spring. Oh, you don't see anybody at home. Like every time it's summer, everybody has their shirt off, walking around in the sun because it gets pretty cold in the winter. Not as cold as Germany though.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is rapidly changing with climate change.
I know.
With the climate crisis, so probably I can wear just my t-shirt in January in a couple of years. So which actually isn't that funny, but it's what we are observing. So, but Australia is a large part of the population is concentrated in several areas. So you're living in Melbourne or near Melbourne,
Yes.
right? And then there is Sydney area and Canberra isn't that large anyway. And
It's
are
very-
there clubs or something in these large areas?
We do. So a lot of us live on the coast because in the middle is the desert, so nobody lives there. There are people like the indigenous peoples live there and know how to. I don't, so I don't. But yeah, yeah, there are clubs. Actually, Stella in Melbourne organizes one of the biggest like meetups. It happens every Wednesday, and we have small groups. That's how I actually discovered gaming. I just went on Meetup, if you know about it, meetup.com, and I googled like board gaming meetup, and I was able to go to small. So there, it's not like yeah. So it's like small pockets of board gamers, and we have like small. It's like sort of like Lyricon, which is actually why I love the conventions here because it's more like small gaming events like Lyricon.
Yeah.
So it's very cozy, which I like. Versus like I'm not bagging big conventions, but like it's very different experience like at SN or Gen Con, where really it's about buying the games versus playing. The only convention that's pretty similar in the United States to that is PAX Unplugged. So I would say that a lot of our conventions are more PAX Unplugged and less Gen Con, except for like the big PAX here. Yeah.
So the big convention, the PAX, it belongs to the obviously to the PAX family of conventions. It's,
But I would say like the one that we have here in PAX Australia is very video game centered. The tabletop presence is growing and growing every year, but really it's a video gaming convention. So also it coincides with Essen, so no publisher comes. I wish they move it or like so the publishers can come over. I don't know if they'll go to Australia because it takes like I guess a day for us to go there, so it'll be the same going here. So I don't know how happy publishers will be going there.
Yeah, so I'd love to travel to Oceania to see Australia, New Zealand, of course. But actually, I'm and you know that, Ella, I'm a bad traveler, and even hitting the east coast of the US 7 hours or something is way too much for me. I hate it. You have to be so early at the airport. And then you're packed in your economy seat, and you're spit out at a certain place. And hopefully, if you have a connection flight, you hope to reach it in time. And 24 hours. I really can't imagine doing this.
Can't imagine, right?
So
Ellen and I cray. We did that every year.
Yeah, and then as you mentioned, Stella is coming to Essen to enjoy that. If you maybe can take off a couple of days at Singapore, so maybe this is doable. But even that first leg is way too much for me.
I can't even imagine doing it now because I haven't traveled in a while, and especially now I've heard like it's worse. Like there are cancellations everywhere.
Yeah.
There are long delays, so it'll be a nightmare.
Yeah, but when I traveled to the Mallorca gathering of editors, which happened this year again after a couple of years.
Is that?
This is 25. It was in late June, early July. And there are about 25 editors, some authors from mainly from German game companies, and we meet at Mallorca in Spain, so in one of the largest Balearic islands, and we are having 2 fincas, so it's nice, it's small, you can hit the pool, you play all day games, so it's nice, but I nearly missed my flight out because the security and check was it took so much time, and one of the persons who was supposed to be there couldn't come because his flight was cancelled the day before. So they simply said, well, flight, no, there is no flight.
What can I do?
Yeah, and of course at that moment it's hardly impossible to get a flight to Mallorca, which is a major tourism site too in different areas in the south and in the northwest to get a replacement flight. So flying was always fun in my opinion, and now it's even worse. So it's no. And hello, Matsu.
We were rich. We can go first class.
Actually, for a long distance flight, or it is necessary, mandatory. actually to have at least business class, and that you can stretch yourself. But of course, money.
Somebody wants to pay for me.
Yeah. yeah. But even in a business class, I wouldn't like to travel to Australia.
24 hours.
Too long.
You don't want to see Lord of the Rings in New Zealand?
I want to see it.
No.
I want to see it, but not with flying in and flying out. But Ella, did you play some games in the last year when we talked last time that were memorable? So
I know you were going to ask me that, so I have to think about all the games. Linked to that, my gaming tastes have changed a bit. It's because I have to practice my art and it takes a long time. The stuff that I want to play is shorter because I can't do because I used to do half a day games or 6 hours. I would do coin games and then root, and then it would be the best games, the short games. It won't be published next year because sometimes I'm late with playing games now. I'm not into the hotness anymore also, which is a good thing. No more hotness. I think that's changed also with COVID. There used to be a big, don't you feel that with publishing? It used to be all the games just released at Gen Con or Essen and things like that. Now it's more spread out, and you could see them on publishers' websites. So it's not a FOMO thing, I can only see this at Essen.
No, right,
and I'd have to get it. Yeah, it's very different now. Has that affected your publishing?
Yeah, I mean, not mine, but not mine at all, because I always did it this time. I think, and more German companies are not releasing. Here in Germany, it's a little bit different. It's not Gen Con because they don't care. It always was traditionally Essen, October, and Nuremberg Toy Fair, which is late January, early February. But this is changing rapidly. Of course, having a new release late in the year in Germany or early next year is still important because of the Game of the Year awards. And you have to be in general distribution, I think in Germany in late March, maybe early April, to be counted. So this is still pretty important, but only if you are a contender for that award. If you aren't, you can't, you are not bothered at all. And I think it is a smart move to spread it around a little bit more. Of course, Ella, you mentioned being outside or outside sports, and here traditionally, but only traditionally, June, July or August, people could go outside and enjoy the summer and weren't playing that much. But you see, especially among the true gamers, the hardcore gamers, they play all the time, 12 months a year. There is not a break for the summer. It's mainly families with kids who then, of course, enjoy their time outside. But I'm not sure. I think it's a good move to not have all the games late in the year. But back to you. Which game are you recommending?
Well, I just played, it was a very interesting game because it was a game made from a deck of cards. So have you heard of Regicide? Space Biff,
yeah, of course, Dan. He's later a guest. I think he. And hey, Meeple Pete, good seeing you.
Hi, Meeple Pete.
I wrote the review as I always do. It was Dan's work. But what is the game about, Ella?
I was so blown away because it was so simple. So there are kings and queens, which are your enemies, and they go on a separate deck. And then how many other people there are, and I played with 2 people. You play cooperatively, and you have to defeat these people. So certain, the different, what do you call this? The spades, hearts, and diamonds, and what's the other one? Spades, hearts, and diamonds, clubs.
Clubs.
So each of these have special abilities, I think, I don't remember specifically, but one is to give you health, one does double damage and things like that. The trick is that your partner and you can't talk, so you're I'm gonna. So I think we didn't actually follow the rules to the T. I don't think you can talk at all, but like we cheat a little bit. So like, oh, I'm gonna attack. I think I'm gonna win. I think that's the most. But yeah, so it was yeah. So basically, you just have 52 decks of cards. Kings and queens are the enemies, and all the other cards are special powers that you play. And the enemies get harder and harder once you go up. And I've heard, because I posted on Twitter that we won. People are like, "You won? We have never won." So how good are Daniel and I? Because we're very good at cooperative games, so we beat the deck. So it's actually, I just think genius. Because I always think about this, like the people who can think of games from such simple rules are the best designers. Like, how did you think of this? Like everybody has a deck of cards, but this is the only person that thought of it in that way. Yeah. So they're also a New Zealand publisher. I forgot the name of the publisher. They're going to be angry.
But
they're watching now. They're angry.
Is this the name of the game, or am I spelling it incorrectly? Can you see this?
Yes, regicide. I think regicide means you kill monarchs, right?
Is this the correct spelling? You're seeing this in the chat.
R-E. I'm going to put it in the. Yeah, that's it. Regicide, that's it. Yeah,
okay, so people can look it up at BGG. So yeah, interesting. But I 100% agree. So you know, I'm a lover of heavy, large games with sometimes have
the good ones.
The good ones, which have a lot of chrome. But I agree 100%. It's true art to have a compelling gaming experience with as simple rules as possible. So I think this is really then you are a master of the craft. So and this is also why I like the work of German designer Per Silvester so much. King is Dead and Brian Boru, which have both games pretty simple rules, but you can do so much in them. Yeah.
And I like people, designers who take chances. So Freedom and Freeze, although like it's hit or miss sometimes, but because he experiments, it's very fun. Because after a while, like, this is so bad, but like, this is like the same game from that game. So because I play so many games, and I play a lot of bad games because that's how you find good games, by playing all the games.
Yeah.
And so it's very refreshing to find like such an amazing game with just 52 cards. And anybody can, I didn't even buy the game. You can buy the game, but we just played with the rules, which I think is very smart. Do you think that would be a deterrent? That people can play it with their own deck and not buy the game? Do you think that's a bad thing, Willie?
It's always what you want to achieve with a game. So you could, of course, say, why are you doing print and play files for some games? And why are you doing this? Why are you offering online free gaming choices, options? So, but I think in the end it is helping. Yes, some people won't buy the game and some people don't have the money to buy the game. So I think it's totally good. And some fans, even if they are playing with their deck of cards first and or with PNP files or just online, and they are then saying, well, I like this so much, I want to support these people and I will buy the game. And by the way, thank you for the chat here, for the viewers, because Meeple Pete is saying Regicide is now on BGA and was a new designer first piece, so interesting. And Hans is saying the company, the wonderful company, is Badgers from Mars. So that's a publisher. So please all check this game out and support these people. So
I think it's the first game also. It's amazing. Like first game, like hit it out of the park. This is American thing. Yeah, they really hit it out of the park. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Friedemann did copycat for a reason. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes this is true. So although that game wasn't that bad, but I think it's just didn't get a lot of attention. So let's see. But any other game you?
I'm thinking because I've been out of the loop actually. I did really like Paris City of Lights. by Devere. It's an abstract game where so you place down the tiles. There are two phases of the game. Basically, the phase where you put down all the tiles, and then the second phase where you score them and have to put your lights on. It's a two-player game. I think it's Cosmos and then Devere. So Cosmos carries it in the UK. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then, gosh, I'm blanking on the game. It's a game by, let me just Google it. So it's a hidden movement game, one of the best that I've ever played. I'll remember it later, but it's based on a comic book.
Mind management.
That's it, mind management. Thank you so much. So that one was the best ones because from my experience with hidden movement games, one, they either take forever or you can only, like the most famous one was Fury of Dracula, where you won versus, I think you can go up to 5. And if the Dracula is not very good, then the game is not good. Because you're like, oh, I found you, that was it. With mind management, I think it solves that because, and I think you're like head-to-head opponents. So like one is not stronger than another. And even if you make a mistake, you can make up after, or the game supports you so that you don't make mistakes like that. It's just pretty good. Also, the pace is very fast. Like it feels very tense. Whereas in other games, it doesn't feel like you're chasing. This one, it really feels like, oh my God, they're like a square beside me. I hope they don't then you have to fix your face because you're like pretending you're not close. I'm like la la la. Yeah, I think that was one of the best games I've ever played.
Please continue to talk. I'm going home. No, but I tried to grab the game.
No, somebody's saying that Dracula is good. It takes if the Dracula is good, it takes hours. Yeah. With mind management, I found that it's actually like being the one chasing is easier. Oh, there it is. It's beautiful production also. Like one of the most beautiful games around. If you're the one chasing, you actually have an easier time. Because when I was playing, you have to play 4 characters. And that's a bit hard to do if you're alone, but with other players, that might be better. Because I always play 2-player. So when you lose, the game gives you extra powers. So it's actually not a bad thing to lose, because then you get other cool characters. I won't say who the characters are, but like you get cool characters, cool new powers that are in the set. So after a while, the game balances out. Like if the other side is stronger, you get new powers. And so whoever loses gets extra powers, which I think is very cool. Yeah. Sen Pong Lim made that. I didn't think I'd like, because I never liked hidden movement. Yeah, because there's so much pressure with making a mistake. It's the same with Cryptid. Have you played Cryptid?
No, I haven't. Although Cryptid got a lot of critical acclaim here in Germany too. Yeah. It was nominated for Kennerspiel des Jahres. If I'm not mistaken now, hopefully I'm not. I think it's an Osprey game originally. And in Germany it is published by Skellig Games, by the wonderful Uwe Borsig and team. It was nominated for Kennerspiel. It did not win, but it was among the final 3 games. I did not play it. No.
Yeah, it has the same problem. If the person playing it makes a mistake, then you're like, or if anybody makes a mistake, then you're giving the answers, then that you have to reset. That doesn't happen in mind management.
And Pete is doing another great comment. First, an earlier one about if you're making files or games available for free. He's saying, well, if I like the game, I buy it. Getting hold of some is hard. Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult. If, let's say, there is a game which is published in Australia or New Zealand, then shipping maybe 50 or 60 euros. And he's saying, I'm passing. And he's confirming then he's playing these games if available digitally. But he's also saying 5 games for Doomsday. So Ben Maddox, that beast from Berlin, he had an interview with Matt Kind. And good to know how it happened so that the game Mind Management came together. And as Ella was saying, game design is by Jay Cormier and Sen Pong Lim. And if you are listening, and you should, if you are listening to Ludology, then you Sen Von Lim, sorry for my stupid pronunciation here,
No.
San, that he's one of the hosts there, and he's wonderful, his insights. So everybody should check out, oops, let me put this in Ludology podcast. So wonderful person, great insights there as well.
Great designer, because you know how designers have fun at the center? Because there are some designers who are like mechanics and then they build stuff around it.
Yeah.
I think I want, like, the best designers are the ones who marry gaming, the experience of the game versus the mechanics.
Yes.
Because a game can have perfect perfect, well, oiled machine, but it's not fun.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience where it's so perfect, it's not fun? Because I see it as a spreadsheet, basically. Like, it's a spreadsheet of math, and
Yeah.
I do maths. I just don't like perfectness in a game. I like it to be like, you never know what's gonna happen. There's some things and it's all about player interaction, versus the game. Like, the game is just a tool, in my opinion. It's a tool to create a good experience among the players. And if the game is at the center, like, it's more important than the players, why make the game, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. So in my opinion, the gaming experience, the immersion gets more and more important, and not only for heavy games, but also for less complex games, for small games. Even in small games these days, often you have a great gaming experience. But the good thing is that the hobby is still growing, the hobby industry is still growing. So basically you have games for all kinds of gamers. And some players just want to see a great mechanic to work, or quite a few people just want to win on the gaming table. It's their main motivation to play, to beat other players at the table. It is what it is, and I'm not saying that something is better or worse. It's just I like a great gaming experience, and games can also be a great tool for communication on the table. So that you, and maybe you talk about last week I was at PAX Australia, and I saw that, and we are playing a couple of rounds, and I say, well, yesterday the Roosters lost again in hockey, and we have a short, boring talk about that, and I think this is important these days.
That's why I like a lot of ConWorxx games and a lot of coin games, because they're all about player interaction. And I know you're publishing these games now, like, you go, Uli.
Yeah, man. Cole is, as you know, I'm a fanboy. Yeah. I'm simply a fanboy. Yeah, and seeing here Markus Pöppelschiebe earlier in the chat, so we played a PAX Pamir even in person a couple of weeks ago. So, great games by Cole. And Pete is going back to Cryptid, making a good comment here. It's also first-time game, so first-time game design.
Oh, wow.
Often, so it's Hal and Ruth.
Amazing.
And he's saying that these are lovely people, and you see, sometimes it's the first thing, you have some ideas, put them on paper, and it works. And often it is better to not follow the same paths, but try something new.
Yeah. I don't want to win. That's the side effect of playing. Oh, whatever, Pete.
Pete, I know you always want to win, and I always want to win as well, but I just can't. That's my problem.
Yeah, that's the difference. I'm the same. I always play with Daniel, and Daniel always wins. They won't say they do, but I'm like, we should count.
Yeah, I think Daniel is a cheater, so that's.
Oh, yes.
Tell him he's a cheater.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Playing PAX Premier with Uli is 30% game, 70% track off.
Yeah, well, Yeah, the problem is I want to play with a lovely group of players, and then I'm playing with Marcus with Purple Shiva. So what can you do? What can you do?
That was the best time. I remember our game of Infamous Traffic. There was a lot of trash talk. That was so fun.
At LariaCon even, right? In Portugal.
Yeah. Do you remember who won?
No, not me for sure. Not me for sure.
No, it was Ben's.
Yeah, Ben's friend won, right?
I was good. Yes.
It was
Ben's friend.
Yeah, and it was the first time in that game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, best game of an Infamous Traffic, and this is also a gaming experience and immersion. What tells you? So for some games, I can't remember in another game if I'm having 55 points in the end, or 61 or 65.
Yeah.
Am I third, second, or fifth? Don't care. But in an Infamous Traffic, I still remember some games very well, and especially that game where I came out with exactly 0 points. I won 1 prize, and that was a 0 points prize, and it was a fox hunting accident. So that's the only thing I had. So positive is I was invited to a hunting event. Negative, I had an accident over there. So 0 points. Yeah, well, what can you do? Yeah, Marcus, of course, I love you. Love to Bochum. Yeah, and Pete is saying
is Cole doing it?
Infamous Traffic is again, yeah, he got the rights back to an Infamous Traffic from Emma Bell, so from Holland Spiele. So, they published the first edition. We played this pretty amateurish, so print and play, in my opinion, perfectly well. Print on demand thing, but Cole Whirligig got the rights back, and they will do a new edition. I cannot confirm.
It's going to be beautiful, I imagine.
Yeah, hopefully. But I can't confirm at this moment that it is 2023.
Please tell everybody that's Uli said it's confirmed. So you're in trouble.
No, they will do the game. They will do the game and re-release it. That's 100%. It's just they have a lot of their plate. And maybe we can ask Drew, so Cole's brother, this afternoon, my time here, and what's up with an Infamous Traffic. And so it will be redone 2023? Maybe. And Oli's asking you, will you attend Essen?
Oh, no, not this year, because I'm a poor art student. Maybe next year when I want to show like maybe an art portfolio when I go next year. I also want to visit Berlin, because when I went to Germany, I never visited, and I'm jealous. I want to see all the art galleries, maybe next year. Although there's an Aussie going, Stella from Meeple University is going. She's a close friend, so please say hi to her.
Yeah, and Stella is also a lovely person. So if you see her at Essen, say definitely hi to her.
Yeah. And give her coffee, because she'll be on the plane for 36 hours. Oh my goodness.
What a nightmare. Yeah, but if you are looking into coming to Berlin next year, you should talk to Pete, because Pete is in the team that organizes BerlinCon. And BerlinCon is in July. So if you can, and BerlinCon is a wonderful convention. So
I heard from you.
Yeah, a couple of thousand people are there, mainly gamers, and it's a convention. It's not a fair. Yes, you can buy games, but you can also play games after exhibitors' hours. And of course, you could be at Berlin for, let's say, 2 weeks, 10 days, and then have the con in the middle. Yes, there are disadvantages to it. Ben is also living in Berlin, so the beast from Berlin will be there as well. And people are saying, Hans and Pete are already confirming that Cole said that in Infamous Traffic will be done next year. So I'll ask definitely.
Yeah.
I will ask Drew later today. And hello, Michigi. Hello to Spain, by the way. But, Ella, it was really, really lovely seeing you again. It has been a long and interesting year for sure for everybody. Keep up with your great artwork. Keep up with your gaming content, although I hate the word content and content creators, but please keep up with all this. Hopefully, and this would be my wish, we are meeting next year maybe in Berlin. So let's see what is happening. Yeah. And
enjoy at Essen. Hope you keep safe, and everybody, I hope you enjoy. Tell me all the good games. Please tweet it at me.
We will, and so
yeah,
you know.
Beer and prosecco.
Yes, of course. The fridge is there, so shouldn't be a problem. And thank you for all viewers. Again, thank you, Ella. I will close the stream. I will not pause it, so you have to reconnect it at 11 o'clock, so in 14 minutes. And we will have Oda here, the Bayer Bube, and we will talk about El Burro, his next design. El Burro. Yeah. Okay, so again, thank you, Ella. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lee.
Bye.